Yo, good afternoon, good afternoon. Freedom marchers, freedom lovers, freedom family, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla gorillas in the building, hitting you all upside the head with this paper here. Something that I want to talk about, something I'm going to expound on if I have time a little later today. If I have time, right? Because I want to touch on this, and I really want to touch on certain content creators that are glazing and praising the actions of Donald Trump right now and the nonsense behind that, right? So this is kind of like a precursor to that. So the hope, my goal is to bring some content later on today to expound. Salute to Black Spring with Autumn in the building. Salute to the beautiful Black Spring with Autumn. Hope you're having a good day. I just want to talk about this Donald Trump talking about going after the cartels in Mexico. Right? Something that I have been asking why he hasn't been doing in the first place, right? Because he declared war on the drug cartels. And the idea was that, oh, well, we're going to go into Mexico and put a stop to these cartels, right? But what does he focus his energy on instead? He focuses the military might of the United States Corporation and our money on blowing up tiny little boats in international waters off the coast of Venezuela. That's what he does. That is what he has been doing for months and months and months. And the reasoning behind it was that they were bringing fentanyl into the United States. That was the idea. That's what they blamed it on. That's what they said they were doing this for. When we know good and goddamn well, fentanyl is not being brought into this country by Venezuela. And so now that they have Maduro under arrest, they're now saying cocaine, right? They changed the whole story. And we know that this is a farce, right? The prosecution of Maduro. And this entire time, as they're doing these things, as they're violating international law and the laws of the United States that you guys hold so dear, that he holds so dear, Mr. Law and Order President himself, I'm asking, why are we not doing this to Mexican cartels? Why aren't we blowing up strongholds and going after the leaders of Mexican cartel members who are actually responsible for getting fentanyl into the country, right? Not only are they responsible for getting fentanyl into the country, but other drugs as well. Cocaine, heroin, and other things. Why are we not focusing on that? Since we're talking about the war on drugs and the war on the cartels, this is what I'm asking the entire time. Because they are doing these things, and they're also trafficking human beings, right? They are trafficking human beings in and out of the country to put them into sex work and slavery. This is what the Mexican cartels are doing. Not Venezuela, not Tren de Agua, right? And if Tren de Agua is participating, they are working with the Mexican cartels to do these things. Not Maduro, right? Not Maduro, not the tiny little boats off the coast of Venezuela, but the Mexican cartels. The Mexican cartels working with the DEA, working with the CIA, working with Tren de Agua, working with not just Venezuelan gangs, but gangs from El Salvador, right? MS-13. Those organizations, they're all working together to get fentanyl into the country, to traffic children. This is what Mexico, the Mexican cartels, are doing. And I'm asking, why are we going after Venezuela under the auspices of taking down drug cartels and all that, when Mexico is heavily involved in heavily perpetuating this action? Now, no one can answer that question. And what Trump said, the president of Mexico said, asking him not to do it. Oh, well, I talked to the president of Mexico, and she said that I shouldn't do it. And, all this bullshit. Right? What does the Mexican president, how is that stopping you? How is that stopping you? I mean, Maduro trying to work with you on ending the drug trade out of Venezuela and giving you as much oil as you want. That didn't stop you from invading Venezuela and dropping bombs and kidnapping Maduro. So why should the Mexican president, why should she stop you from going after the cartels who are actually responsible for getting the precursors for fentanyl and whatnot into the country? And fentanyl itself, because they manufacture fentanyl in Mexico, right? What's the deal? So now that the cat's out the bag, and we know that you're trying to take over the world and become the supreme leader of the world, now you want to talk about going after Mexico. Are you going after Mexico and the cartels because of the drugs now? Or are you doing it so that you can take over Mexico? Because you just want the land. You want Mexico itself. Because there is some oil in Mexico as well. Right? Not as they don't have as much in the way of resources as South American nations. But they have some things that we need. They have land, right, which could be strategic. You could spread our military even further out into the world, which is just ridiculous, and control an entire nation and have your way with their children, right? Because that most Americans don't care about children of third world countries, and that you could go ahead and traffic children, traffic them to the elite, traffic them into the elite until they become used up, and then you send them out into the streets and put them on the host row. They're all used up and they're adults now. That's what happens to these children, if you guys don't know. That's the path for these children that get dragged into child sex trafficking. It starts with, they're worth a lot of money in the beginning because they're, virginal, pure. This is very valuable to the elite class PDF files. Once the PDF files in the elite class use them up, they get sent to the host row. That's what happens. That's the path of these children. They start, that's where they start at. They start at that. It's just a reality. So during the Biden administration, the president that told all these people to come over here, guess what ended up happening? Thousands of children got funneled into this sex trade. And the Mexican cartels were instrumental in making that happen. And the Mexican cartels are eating big off of this, right? They are providing a commodity, the same commodity I talked about earlier this week. The commodity that no one's really talking about except for me. The elite class, right? These people, they don't think like me and you. They don't have the same moral compass as you and I. They have no care in the world because they have unlimited access to the things they want. This is what they believe. They think they deserve unlimited access to these things, to resources, to children. What they desire more than the resources is control. It's the ultimate power, right? Salute to Realize in the building. Salute to the Queen Realize. Yeah. What do you think the Epstein files are about? Why do you think they won't release the Epstein files? Huh? Why do you think that? They don't release the Epstein files because if they do 100% listen, if they release it, no redactions, no blacking out people's identities, you will discover that these elite class PDF files spend hours and hours victimizing children in more ways than one, right? They perform rituals. They think they can suck the energy out of these children and live forever. This is their goal. If y'all think I'm making this shit up? Aleister Crowley and them, these people, the Aleister Crowleyans, they think that they can extract the energy and the youth from the children and live forever. This is their goal. This is the adrenochrome and all these different things. Sandra Bullock told you herself on the Ellen DeGeneres show. She told you, in order to stay looking youthful, give me a Romeo Lima Charlie if I'm back, y'all. Someone says conspiracies, as though conspiracies don't happen. Y'all gotta listen, y'all gotta do better. Oh, there's no such thing as this conspiracy. Every time these people get together and create laws that violate your rights, they're committing conspiracies. They are conspiring in Congress to strip you of your rights. That's a conspiracy. Y'all got to listen. When Donald Trump decided to get together with Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, and other military leaders to invade Venezuela and kidnap their president, that was a conspiracy. That was a conspiracy. You know that, right? Y'all got to be smarter than that. Conspiracies. Y'all just throw words around. You know what the fuck they mean. They conspired against another country and another country's leader. And the point of the conspiracy was to remove the leadership of that country so that they could start to extract the resources from that country. That is a conspiracy. I don't understand what y'all talking about. Somebody said King Trump. See, this is y'all problem. It's not good enough that he's president to y'all. Now y'all want him to be the king. You know that kings don't have term limits? You know a king operates within a monarchy. You know that, right? Someone says FAFO. Well, what did Venezuela fuck around with? What they do? Venezuela did nothing to us. I get it. He is a victim. And you know what I get? I get that individuals like you have no capacity to think critically. That's what I understand. Salute to FOC. Salute to you, One Thought. I think I know who you are. Venezuela ran shrug operations. Anyway, so now they want to go into Mexico. Now they're talking about going after the drug cartels in Mexico. Because what did Trump say about the cartels when he was talking about that? He said the cartels run Mexico. Yes, there are celebrities that confess that. Exactly. Sandra Bullock told you that she takes baby foreskins and rub them on her face. That's disgusting. Salute to California Dreaming in the building. It's been a minute since I seen you. Someone says fentanyl. You have no idea what you're talking about. There is zero fentanyl coming from Venezuela. Zero. They don't send fentanyl to this country. And the drugs they do send out of their country, most of it goes to Europe. They traffic most of their drugs to Europe. What are you talking about? The cocaine. They do not bring fentanyl into this country. That's a fucking lie. Anyway, so now you want to go into Mexico. You say that the cartels are running the country. And so you got to go after the cartels. And that is your problem with the cartels, is they're running Mexico. And so you want to take over Mexico because whatever reason, whatever goddamn pinky in the brain reason you got. And that's why you're going after the cartels, because you feel like they run the country and you want to run Mexico. So you have to unseat and remove those who are currently running Mexico, which are the cartels, which I agree with. I agree with that. You don't give a fuck about the drugs. You look crazy, man. Sure, pal. Sure. Venezuela has been liberated, and the people, how have they been liberated? And they're saying that the same government is still running Venezuela. The same government is running Venezuela. The vice president was Maduro vice president. Now she's the president. The military leaders that were loyal to Maduro are still in place. How are they liberated when the government that they were being ruled by is still in place? And now Donald Trump is talking about another invasion and another attack on Venezuela. Why are they celebrating? I'm not addressing that nonsense anymore about this. Why are they celebrating bullshit? Y'all are just too dumb for that. Anyway, this conversation, this thing that I'm doing with you guys right now, is to give you the information and give you my take based on the facts about what's really going on here, so that when it comes to fruition, you can come back to this live stream. You can come back into this live stream and say, man, this guy was right. Mexico wants smoke. They don't care, but they will get wiped out. They'll get wiped out by our government if our government so chooses. They have no chance if they actually put up resistance against our military. Yeah, Greenland? Why are we? What? So is Greenland sending drugs into this country? Why are they trying to go after Greenland and take Greenland? Why are they talking about we own the Western Hemisphere? But you guys want to come up in here and tell me that it's about the fentanyl in the drugs. It's not. You're from Iran. Salute to you. I'm trying to read y'all comments, but it's going very fast. Just can't say that they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. Now, this is why I say get your boomsticks and freedom seeds ready, because they don't have a chance. And that doesn't mean literally they have zero chance. That just means that the outcome, the goal of our government will come to fruition. I'm not saying there won't be resistance. I'm not saying they won't fight. I'm not saying they won't attack civilians. I'm saying that our government is going to get what it wants, regardless of the costs. That's why I say, get your boomsticks and freedom seeds ready. Because if we do attack the Mexican cartels, especially those that live in Arizona, Texas, California, New Mexico, all those border cities and border towns, be prepared. Even beyond that, because, Mexican cartels, they operate in all types of different states. They operate in South Carolina. They operate in Colorado. They operate in Northern California. They operate in Washington. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. Report this clown. We not scared in Texas. So you want to report me because you think I think you're scared in Texas. Jim says you're a joke. You can't make, you don't have to make it up. I'm gonna toot my own horn. I call this shit out. And if I feel strongly about what may happen, it usually happens. So, a year before we struck Iran, I told you guys we were going to attack Iran. I told you Israel was going to attack Iran, and they did it. I told you that we stopped or slowed down the aid to Ukraine, right? I think that was back in August, somewhere around that time. August, somewhere July, August. Donald Trump said that he's going to stop sending military aid and financial aid to Ukraine. And that's when he started kind of maneuvering in the Caribbean with his military, military assets. And I said, the reason he's doing that is because, and then at around the same time, he pushed for this peace deal between Israel and Palestine. So that what? So that he can start focusing our military might on Venezuela. I said, the reason he's doing all that is so that he can launch an attack on Venezuela. So that he's positioned our military to the degree where we get the optimal outcome. I said that. I said that months before, because they were blowing up tiny boats, right? Y'all thought that he was doing that to keep the drugs from coming into Venezuela. I said no. What he's doing is a posture. It's military posture, right? He surrounds Venezuela with these ships, starts blowing up tiny little boats and saying, oh, well, those are drug boats. And then, right, that's what he's doing. He's basically sending a message to Maduro that we're coming for you. I said that. Maduro said it too, because he's a smart man. He knew that. But I said it at the same time. I said, the only reason he's pulling back from Ukraine and asking Israel to chill And so that our military can focus our attention on taking Venezuela, because that's what he wants. And guess what happened? I told you. I said that our military, right, the military leaders, heck said Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is technically a military leader. Salute to Queen Mother Shaquilla Fields. Salute to Queen Mother. She says, yes, I did. I remember that live. Yeah, I said it in multiple lives. I said they're not going, because you remember Donald Trump started talking about doing a ground invasion into Venezuela. I said, nah, he's not going to do that. He's just posturing. More posturing. More intimidation. Because I understand what our military understands about Venezuela. What you don't understand about Venezuela is that if we try to launch a ground war in Venezuela with all the jungles and the different types of terrain they got in Venezuela, how they have intimate knowledge of their own land and we don't, it's going to be Vietnam 2.0. So I didn't really believe that they were going to do that. I said, no, they're going to Muammar Gaddafi Maduro. It's going to be a different type of thing. They're going to concentrate on Maduro himself. They're going to take out Maduro. That is what I said. They're not going to invade. They don't want to launch a full-scale invasion against Venezuela. No, they want to go directly for Maduro, but they didn't have the time that they had to do what they did to Muammar Gaddafi. No, they couldn't do what they did to Muammar Gaddafi was a war of attrition. Wear him down, wear his forces down, wear his people down to the point where they started creating rebel forces against Muammar Gaddafi, and he was taken out by his own people. Muammar Gaddafi was taken out by his own people. They didn't have time to do that to Maduro because despite what y'all believe and despite what they show you, which is bullshit, there are not millions and millions and millions of Venezuelans celebrating this shit. No, they didn't have time to do what they did to Muammar to Maduro. But I was still on point when I said they're going to go directly for Maduro. And I was right. Because they can't afford a ground invasion into Venezuela. They can't afford a full-scale ground war in Venezuela. No, they're going to do airstrikes, strategic airstrikes. But that's not going to get them what they want. To what end? No, they want to take the country over so that they could take the resources, and they want to be able to keep the infrastructure in place so that they can utilize them. They don't want to blow up. They don't want to blow up the infrastructure like that. No, they don't. No, they need Venezuela intact for the most part. Someone says I'm wrong, yet I was right. I was literally correct, and you're telling me I'm wrong. Can't make this shit up. They hated Maduro. No, they didn't. The people of the opposition party and their supporters hated Maduro. But you continue to go ahead and believe the propaganda they're selling you to justify Donald Trump trying to take over the world like some fucking emperor. Go ahead. Someone says I'm wrong, dude. Yet you haven't told me where I'm wrong at. This is how y'all do it, and this is how I want people to see it. Because see, I'm giving you guys facts. You can't dispute them. So you just want to say I'm wrong. You can say that's fine. But I gave you instances that support what I'm saying. And if you want, you can fact check and do the research and see if what I'm saying is correct. Meaning you can go back into my live streams all the way back to earlier this year and see if what I'm saying right now that I said is actually correct. You are wrong. You know the real truth, and you're insane. Sure, pal. Salute to Mahari Nation in the building. Thank you for coming through, brother. Yeah, I'm talking about Venezuela's dictator. Yeah, sure. And I'm talking about our dictator, Donald Trump, who's acting on the behalf of special interest groups and corporations trying to take over the fucking world. That's what I'm talking about as well. And now he wants to go after Mexico, not because he wants to stem the flow of drugs into the country, but because he feels like the cartels run Mexico and he wants to take over Mexico. He wants to run Mexico. He wants to run Colombia. He wants to run Cuba. He wants to run Chile. He wants to run El Salvador. He wants to run Ecuador. He wants to run the whole kit and caboodle. And they'll tell you it's because of China and Russia. Oh, China and Russia, we can't let them do nothing. Oh, they're gonna take over the world if we don't. That's the position of these motherfuckers. Well, if we don't take over the world, they will. That's their justification. Dave Lou, you don't have to announce your departure. This is not an airport. Here, let me help you out. You ain't never got to come back. There you go, Dave Lou. You ain't never got to come back. If you want to announce your departure, moderators, if people feel the need to announce their departure and complain about listening, then you can get them on out the fucking door. Why complain about what I'm saying? Oh, why am I listening to this guy? We're going to help you out. We're going to give you the boost you need to never come back to my channel and listen to my incessant rants. You don't have to listen to my rants. If they're complaining about me ranting, they can go. Get them out of here, moderators. I don't want them to be tortured by my conversation. Now, if they're simply just disagreeing with what I'm saying, that's perfectly fine. If they don't agree with me, that's fine as well. This guy says we don't have a dictator. Well, he is a dictator. What are you talking about? What? He is a dictator. Do you know that Donald Trump said that they're not going to have an election in Venezuela? Yeah. He said, no, they're not going to have no, we're not doing any elections in Venezuela for now. So much for spreading democracy, right? So your precious baby daddy, in my BFTB voice, don't talk about my baby daddy. Your precious baby daddy just dictated to Venezuela that they can't have an election. What was it? What was it? You just don't like Trump, that's it. I don't know fucking Trump. I don't know Trump. Trump could be a great guy who's been bought out by the Rothschilds and has no choice but to do what he's doing. But y'all do know that Donald Trump got bought and paid for by the Rothschilds back in the 90s. And then when he became president during the first term, he put Wilbur Ross in position as the Treasury Secretary, Commerce Secretary, no fucking difference. And Wilbur Ross worked for Rothschilds Inc. and handled his bailout when the Taj Mahal failed. Donald Trump, whether he's a great guy or not, is bought and paid for. And he told you he doesn't think he's going to heaven. So that should tell you something as well. Explain how he's a dictator. I just gave you an example. He just dictated that Venezuela won't have an election. What? You know, when presidents perform executive actions, they are dictating. Do you know that? You know that, right? Every executive order is a dictation. What don't you understand? We are slowly losing everything. I agree with that, Chris Roberts. Trump's derangement syndromes run strong in this. I wish my brother I Am Mature Will was here. so he can help explain who's actually deranged. Who's more deranged? The abused wife or the brother that tries to convince her that she's being abused? Which one? Who's deranged? What was it? What was it? Who is more deranged? The battered wife that stays with the husband, or the brother who tries to convince her that she's abused and that she needs to, guess what? Leave that motherfucker. Who's more deranged? Salute to Rob Curtis dropping that $20 super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the support, because every time I do these things, every time they demonetize it, they don't like me going after Donald Trump. So they're shadow banning me right now. I appreciate you, Rob Curtis. I appreciate you. You're not the smartest guy, black guy at all, dude. I'm not trying to be the smartest black guy. Whoever said that. Y'all gotta listen to what y'all are. You looking at what y'all writing before you write it? Before you press send? Or before you press, do you read what you're writing? Real Shelton, salute to my brother Real Shelton in the building. Thank you for coming through. But I appreciate Rob Curtis for dropping that super chat. Mustang Deb says, hey, I'm a battered wife. I resent that. Hey, I mean, if you still with the husband, you're deranged. If I tell you your husband is abusive and he's abused other women in the past and maybe even killed one, I'm not deranged. If I'm telling you Donald Trump is committing war crimes, technically it's not even a war crime because we're not at war with Venezuela. International law, violating international law, violating U.S. law, which he is. If I tell you that, how am I deranged? Because I'm explaining to you what he's doing in your fucking face. If you're the one that refuses to see the truth and the facts for what they are, then you're the deranged one, you fucking idiot. Yeah, that's how that works. Y'all got to do better. I know I'm not deranged butterfly. I salute to you. Someone has been obsessed with conspiracy theories. So y'all just taking the term that the CIA created and y'all just running with it. You're committing war crimes. You can't make this up. Anyway, Donald Trump wants to take Mexico and he has to go through the cartels to do so. That's why he's talking about going after the cartels. Not because they're smuggling drugs into the country, not because they're smuggling children and adults into the sex trade. No, but because he wants to take over Mexico. Going after Canada in no time. I don't know if you guys remember, but he talked about that earlier in the year about going after, trying to absorb Canada. But he's going to leave that alone for now. Trust me, he'll be back on it. He has 3 years left. 3 more years. He can get a lot done in that time. The brother Mahari says Trump's version of the Bay of Pigs in Mexico. Absolutely. So does the reason really matter? The outcome is good. How is this a good outcome? How is this a good outcome? You think it will be a good outcome if we take over the entire Western Hemisphere? You think that's a good thing? What happens to the Constitution? What happens to how this country is? Does the entire Western Hemisphere become the United States? How does that work? You know, those refugees and illegal immigrants that you guys hate so much, you're going to see them all over the place. That's what y'all want? Anyone siding with colonizers need to leave. No, we want the colonizers to expose themselves. Censorship is not a good thing. right? When I tell you guys, if they're complaining about my rent or if they're announcing leaving, I tell you guys get rid of those people. This guy's a knucklehead. Sure, pal. I'm a fascist. What's a fascist? I need y'all need to start copy editing before y'all press send. That's just a suggestion. My brother, you do know that international laws don't really affect the United States as a whole, and the president still answers to the Congress. No, the president. So did the Congress give? That's why I said international law and United States law. Did he get authorization from Congress to go into Venezuela? No, he did not. And if you sign up, right, to be beholden to international laws, then guess what? Right? See, our nation signed up to be overseen by the international courts. Let me try that again, guys. Thank you. Thank you to Nigerian Generational, who says, greetings, brother, half FBA, half Kenyan. I worry about Africa. You spilling knowledge. Any thoughts on Iran right now? Thank you so much. Please give me a Romeo Lima Charlie if you guys got me, if I'm back. Michael Koff, yes, he did. Yes, he did. Trump did and does need congressional approval to go into Venezuela. Yes, he did and does and did. What are you talking about? Knock it off. You cannot just invade a sovereign nation and take its leader with impunity. That's not allowed. He did need congressional authorization and a reason. This whole, oh, well, we called him a narco-terrorist, so therefore we had the authority. No, that's not how that works. Knock it off. Stop coming up in here and lying about bullshit. You're lying. Anyway, in regards to Iran, I know that they're cutting off the Strait of Hormuz. We'll see how that gets responded to. I don't know. We might end up going after Iran again. But we have to, they have to be very careful about how they do this, right? I don't think that they have any interest in doing anything with Iran right now. I think they're concentrating on doing the takeover of the Western Hemisphere, which will put them in a great position to then start doing things like going after Iran and competing with China and Russia. When I say competing with China and Russia, I don't mean going to war with China and Russia, because if we go to war with China and Russia, that could become a big problem. We're talking about nuclear warfare at that point. So, and Iran is a close ally to China and Russia, but at the same time, they can't really intervene if we do anything, right? Again, because of mutually assured destruction. Yes, he's the commander-in-chief. Absolutely, TAB. But he still I don't know if you're saying that because you believe that he doesn't need authorization to go into Venezuela, but he does. I don't care what they tell you about declaring him a terrorist. That's not how that works. You a liar. Educate yourself. Educate your mama. Educate your mama, because some reason. Anyway, I'm not going to go there right now. So here's how this works. Okay. They want to control the entire Western Hemisphere. And what that does is, because they now control the oil reserves in Venezuela to a degree, China and Russia can't get oil from Venezuela, which will greatly, right? That'll greatly impede upon their desires to be a superpower, right? So it's not going to really stop them from doing much, but it does cut off access from a lot of energy, right? A lot of oil. So we did cut off oil to China and Russia, which we play these games with China and Russia, But at some point, news prevail. There will be a new destruction. Is the idea that these superpowers that have these nuclear weapons, they won't really go at each other. They won't go to full-scale war with each other because they know they both have the nuclear capabilities to take each other out. So if China launches a nuclear weapon and we discover that, we're gonna launch a nuclear weapon at them, and they're gonna launch another one, and we'll launch another one, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what's going on. Thank you, realize. You know what to do. I appreciate you. I'm almost done, beer man. I'm almost done. Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They don't like what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm talking about mutually assured destruction. Okay. And this is why we don't want Iran to have nuclear capabilities, because they will be protected by MAD as well, mutually assured destruction. So this is why they're trying to take out Iran ASAP, but they that right. They take the Western Hemisphere, right? So that if we start fucking with Iran and they start retaliating, we'll be in a better position. This is why they want Greenland, right? Greenland is a strategic island, right? If we position ourselves in Greenland in the proper way, we will have a better 360-degree level of security to protect us from any type of retaliation from China, Russia, anything, right? Now, I'm muted. Tell me you guys can hear me. Somebody said I'm muted. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. World War III started in 2022. You just haven't realized it. No, I talked about how World War II started already. World War III started. I talked about it years ago. I talked about it before 2022. Yeah. Because it's a different type of war, right? Now, bunch of lies. He's a cuddled kid. Sure, pal. Anyway, this is why they want the Western Hemisphere. This take over all these nations, because once they start positioning to do certain things, they want to be in the best position to protect what they really want, right? And a lot of what they want, right? They're doing this on the behalf of the bankers and special interest groups and the corporations in the elite class that have these freaky, funky desires, because it's all about power at the end of the day, right? It's all about power. That is the number one desire, and then there's the sexual desire, and it's that power hungriness and that control. For them, the children is the ultimate way for them to exercise that. So now they don't just want the children, right? They want to control everybody, but they want to have access to children without any impedance. This is their goal. They want complete unfettered access to whatever they want without having to worry about the useless eaters trying to stop them. It's as simple as that. It's very simple when you think about it. Anyway, someone called me a right-wing dude. Sure, pal, I'm right. Whatever you want to say. Anyway, y'all, and this is why we want to go into Mexico, right? Mexico will probably be the next stop. It'll probably be the next stop, but first they got to get a handle on Venezuela a little bit more, right? Got to get a little bit more of a handle on Venezuela. Then I can see them going after Mexico next, and then probably Colombia and Cuba, right? Because now you got these guys talking about our hemisphere. What you never heard that, but this is their plan. The Peterson Dean says, I disagree. Cuba, then Mexico. I can roll with that. I can roll with either order. But we'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for coming through. I appreciate you for coming through. I appreciate your disagreements, even though for the most part your disagreements don't. I wish you guys would, if you're going to say I'm wrong and I'm lying, and I wish you guys would come with something that could counter that, right? Not just saying I'm wrong, but tell me what's right. Say, no, you're wrong because of this, instead of just saying I'm wrong. I would appreciate that a little bit more. But, you know, you guys are going to do what you want to do, right? I would appreciate, if you guys disagree, to tell me what the disagreement is, what you have to say to counter what I'm saying. Some of you guys do it, some of you don't. But for the most part, you don't. But it is what it is. This is why we have these conversations, right? It's a marketplace of ideas that we're talking about. Anyway, thank you guys. Somebody sent another super chat. Who sent another super chat? I think did I? Oh, any thoughts on Iran? I think I covered Nigerian Neo-generational. I covered that. Are you talking about a different super chat? I appreciate the super chat. Thank you, Neo-generational. Yeah, when I was talking about Iran, I covered that question. Is there another one? But I appreciate you guys. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming through. Thank you for your support. Thank you. Right? Salute to Sunshine. Is that you for real? Hold on. Do me a favor, Sunshine, and email me at freedomsmarch80@gmail.com and tell me what's up. And now, next time I do a live stream, I'll make sure I mod you up. But yeah, anybody that has any information they want to send me, any questions or anything, freedomsmarch80@gmail.com is where you do it. Blessings to you, California Love and NYC. I appreciate you for showing up. Yes, yeah, everybody needs to fact check. I agree with that. If you just came in, I'm just talking about how Donald Trump is talking about going into Mexico, taking out the cartels and all that. But you can go ahead and do the replay. Anyway, I'm gonna holler at y'all later, man. Y'all stay up, keep your head on a swivel, get your boomsticks and your freedom seeds ready if they do actually decide to go after Mexico. How to live and smile. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Sunshine, if that's you, please send me an email. Okay? And then we can go from there. I want to make sure I take care of you. You've already discussed it. Thank you. Holla at y'all later, man. Y'all stay up. Peace.